about a teddy bear. So I'm gonna go ahead and start reading it. Corduroy is a bear who once lived in the toy department of a big store. Day after day, he waited with all the other animals and dolls for somebody to come along and take him home. The store was always filled with shoppers buying all sorts of things, but no one ever seemed to want a small bear in green overalls. Then one morning, a little girl stopped and looked straight into Corduroy's bright eyes. "Oh, Mommy," she said, "look, there's the very bear I've always wanted." "Not today, dear," her mother sighed. "I've spent too much money already. Besides, he doesn't look very new. He's lost a button to one of his shoulder straps." Corduroy watched them sadly as they walked away. "I didn't know I'd lost a button," he said to himself. "Tonight I'll go and see if I can find it." Late that evening, when all the shoppers had gone and the doors were shut and locked, Corduroy climbed carefully down from his shelf and began searching everywhere on the floor for his lost button. Suddenly, he felt the floor moving under him. Quite by accident, he had stepped onto the escalator, and up he went. Could this be a mountain? He wondered. "I think I've always wanted to climb a mountain." He stepped off the escalator as he reached the next floor, and there before his eyes was the most amazing sight. Tables and chairs and lamps and sofas and rows of beds. "This must be a palace," Corduroy gasped. "I guess I've always wanted to live in a palace." He wandered around, admiring the furniture. "This must be a bed," he said. "I've always wanted to sleep in a bed." And up he crawled onto the large, thick mattress. All at once, he saw something small and round. "Why, here's my button," he cried, and he tried to pick it up. But like all the other buttons on the mattress, it was tied down tight. He yanked and he pulled with both paws until pop, off came the button, and off the mattress Corduroy tumbled. Bang into a tall floor lamp. Over it fell with a crash. Corduroy didn't know it, but there was someone else awake in the store. The night watchman was going and doing his rounds on the floor above. When he heard the crash, he came dashing down the escalator. "Now who in the world did that?" he exclaimed. "Somebody must be hiding around here." He flashed his light under and over the sofas and beds until he came to the biggest bed of all. And there he saw two fuzzy brown ears sticking up from under the cover. "Hello," he said. "How did you get upstairs?" The watchman tucked Corduroy under his arm and carried him down the escalator and set him on the shelf in the toy department with the other animals and dolls. Corduroy was just waking up when the first customer came into the store in the morning, and there, looking at him with a wide, warm smile, was the same little girl he'd seen only the day before. "I'm Lisa," she said, "and you're going to be my very own bear. Last night I counted what I had saved in my piggy bank, and my mother said I could bring you home." "Shall I put him in a box for you?" the sales lady asked. "Oh no, thank you," Lisa answered, and she carried Corduroy home in her arms. She ran all the way home, up 4 flights of stairs, into her family's apartment, and straight into her own room. Corduroy blinked. There was a chair and a chest of drawers, and alongside a girl-sized bed stood a little bed just the right size for him. The room was small, nothing like the enormous palace in the department store. This must be home, he said. I know I've always wanted a home. Lisa sat down with Corduroy on her lap and began to sew a button on his overall. I like you the way you are, she said, but you'll be more comfortable with your shoulder strap fastened. You must be a friend, said Corduroy. I've always wanted a friend. Me too, said Lisa, and gave him a big hug. One of the reasons I just love this story, and today when I was having time with God, he spoke to me and said, the reason I think he picked this book for me to read today was how many of us feel that we're not enough, or maybe we feel unworthy, or like we don't have a friend, or even the bed we want. Corduroy says through the book many different times, like, I think I've always wanted to have a bed, or to live in a palace, or to have a friend. He felt left out, he felt unwanted. And then a girl, cute little girl, came and saw him for who he was. He was still a bear. And she could have cared less that he didn't have a strap or a button to his strap. She just knew that this was the bear she'd always wanted. And so she went home and counted all of her pennies so that she could bring him home. And that's what God does for us. God sees the broken pieces in us. He sees the things that the world might say is not good enough, but he sees us as good enough. He sees us for exactly what he knew we could be and will be. And that's what she did. She saw what he could be. She saw the vision of what she could do by just putting another button on. But she even told him, I love you just the way you are, but I think you'll be more comfortable if the strap was over your shoulder. God tells us, I love you just the way you are, but I think you'd be more comfortable if you didn't have this doubt inside of you. I think you'd be more comfortable if you didn't have this fear inside of you. I love you just the way you are, but I'm going to do more for you, and I'm going to change your heart and build you up into the person, child, boy or girl, woman or man that I know you can be and intended you to be. So I pray that this blessed you guys. I love and miss each one of you and cannot wait to see